Good evening once again, Mayor. Sorry about that. We do have a difficult connection tonight. We know that South Africa as a whole is gearing up to go to level 3, but obviously great concern about hotspots such as Cape Town. We saw today that a field hospital was set up in the Cape Town Convention Centre, so clearly there is great progress in trying to create centres where sick people can be taken. I would imagine, though, you're particularly concerned about poor areas such as Khayelitsha. I would like to ask you a little bit more. What specifically is the city doing in areas such as Khayelitsha to provide better sanitation facilities for people?
Look, the discussion I have every day with my frontline staff is exactly that. If the services is in place, the water, the sanitation, toilets get cleaned 3-4 times a week. Clean water gets provided almost every day by trucks, even driving into the informal settlement areas for people to wash their hands with clean water at least. And at the end of the day, sanitization material gets provided to the informal settlement communities on the Cape Flats and also in the informal settlement areas. That is an ongoing process, and for the duration of the COVID-19 pandemic, it will ongoing. At the end of the day, we hand out thousands and thousands of leaflets and pamphlets on a week-to-week basis to all the informal settlement areas, educating the public with regard to cleanliness, with regard to the clean environment, with regard to washing of the hands and wearing of the face mask and so forth. And all these drives from the City of Cape Town side will definitely continue.
Mayor, let's talk about transport in the city, especially next week where a lot of people are going to be going back to work and some of the grades will be going back to school. How confident are you that overcrowded trains and taxis will be compliant with the regulations around social distancing and sanitation?
I'm quite happy with the My City bus service. I think Golden Arrow on their part will do exactly the same, and that is to sanitize their buses, to sanitize, even we're talking about sanitization of even of the taxis. My counterpart at the provincial government, MEC Madikizela, visit the taxi ranks quite often to see to sanitization. This morning I visit some of the My City bus stations to make sure sanitizers is available for passengers to enter the buses, and that the buses are not overcrowded, that there is safe distances. And definitely, I can't speak for Plaza, but I think on the trains, that is a big worry for me, the amount of people in the carriages. That is something we will have to watch on Monday with more and more people coming to work and so forth. But definitely, we will engage Plaza on that one to ensure that there is safe distances on the trains as well.
Are you concerned, and it does seem a little counterintuitive, as our infections go up every day, and in 24 hours the Western Cape had 49 deaths. Are you concerned that we're moving to level 3 at a time like this when we're seeing the virus really take hold in hotspots such as Cape Town? Do you think that perhaps the suggestion from the Health Minister that maybe certain hotspots will have to stay in lockdown 4 or even go back to 5?
Well, look, 49 deaths in one day is quite concerning. Looking at what's happening in other countries across the world where you see hundreds of deaths in one day, looking at Spain, for instance, and even America. But at the end of the day, that is something we don't want for Cape Town or for any other city in South Africa. At the end of the day, even with 10 deaths in one day, it's a concerning kind of an issue. But I can understand why government opened the economy a bit to enable people to work and to earn some form of a remuneration. I think that is equally important. People were just hungry, and the big fear was a riot for food and that sort of thing. But I think our government is quite responsive during these times. They will watch the situation across the country very, very carefully from Monday onwards. And I am of the opinion, if the situation wherever in South Africa worsens, we will have to get back to the drawing board and to the negotiating table and to say we need to come up with other alternative measures.
Well, thank you very much for your time and bearing with our difficult telephone lines. That is the Mayor of Cape Town, Dan Plato.